So for those of you who don't know Corey Crowder, welcome to our Pure Country Home Hangouts. People in Canada are probably super jealous of you because you're outside on your patio right now.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's like mid 60s. I don't know what that would be Celsius, but
I think that's about like 10 degrees. Oh, you disappeared for a second.
there we go.
So I feel like, I want to talk to you about obviously working with Chris Young and FGL and all that. But I feel like you're kind of an honorary Canadian in a sense because you've worked with so many Canadians.
Yeah.
So Jess Moskaluke, Aaron Pritchett, Brett Kissel you've written for, but Jess,
Tim Hicks.
Tim Hicks. The list literally is pretty long for, you generally write with a lot of U.S. artists and U.S. writers, but you have dabbled in the Canadian world as well. But Jess, you've worked with since the beginning?
Yeah, so Jess and I started writing together, a long time ago. She started coming to town. She was making YouTube videos. Do you remember this?
Yes.
She was making this was back when YouTube was like everybody was doing those covers, and anyway, she was crushing on there, and so we started writing, and then I started producing her records, and we've just kind of always worked together. I love making records with Jess.
Yeah, she's awesome. And you just wrote Jess Moskaluke's most recent, her first #1 song ever.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Because you finally, you've worked with her for so long, and you've seen her career literally from start to now, and she's worked so hard, written so many great songs, been like grinding at it, and then finally gets to #1.
I know. I'm so happy for her and happy to be a part of it. And it's been, she's been crushing it for years, and she's set all kind of records, and that was just like one of those things that had kind of loomed. It was like the one last thing to check off,
I know.
So
it's cool
I'm
that
so happy for her.
It was on a song that you wrote with her too. I think that makes it even cooler.
It does, for sure. And Emily Shackleton wrote that one with us. And Emily, if you've followed Jess's career at any deep level, Emily is like all over Jess records. So that was kind of cool too, just to like have her two OG writers with her.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so backtrack, like how did you get started in songwriting? I feel like everyone's story is so different. Is it something you knew you always wanted to do, or was it just a total fluke that you ended up being a writer?
I'm the only musical person in my family. So I started playing guitar. My dad got me guitar lessons when I was a kid because I begged him for it. And I just kind of was always like the guitar guy that played at church. And I didn't really know I could sing that well. And that sounds crazy because like I'm a singer, but like nobody ever, how do you know if nobody tells you you're any good, So I just hung around with my friends and they said I was good. But eventually when I moved to college, I just started playing bars and writing songs. And, next thing I know, it kind of became my passion. In high school, I was more of like an athlete.
Okay.
And then in college, I just kind of dug into this music thing. It just became my obsession. So I would say right about, 1920, I decided I wasn't ever going to work a normal job, which is a really bizarre thing to say. And most people look at you like you're a nut. You're going to you're going to get a real job. I promise.
What was their response when you were like, so I'm not going to get a job, I'm going to be a writer?
Well, I think my mom just thought it was like a hobby, I think it's not that she didn't think I was any good. It's just, it's pretty daunting when you think about, how many, songwriters make a living at it, or how many artists make a living at it, or whatever, producers, whatever you want to name. It's not that many. And so the odds are probably better to go after being an NBA basketball player.
Pretty tall. I feel like you could have made that happen too.
But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad that's my personality. I just do my own thing.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. And I will say that, but obviously you and Steven worked together and written a bunch and whatnot. But I remember it was months ago. We were driving around in California and he was playing me demos of stuff he'd written. And it was a bunch of stuff that you were singing on. And I was like, who is this? He's so good. I'm like, holy crap. He's like, it's Corey Crowder. I'm like, why isn't he an artist also? Good. So what made you decide to go, hey, like I'm doing the writing thing, I'm doing the producing thing, but I'm going to maybe throw out a song because why not?
Well, so to backtrack, I came to Nashville as an artist.
Right. Okay.
So I had a record deal and I did the whole thing, and I kind of gave that up because I felt like I gave it a good shot, and I did. It was fun, but like the thing I dreaded the most about music was performing.
Okay.
I love making records and writing records and being in the studio. And so once I lost my record deal, I kind of just took a leap of faith and just distanced myself from the artist thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I signed over with Tree Vibes with Tyler and Brian from FGL, they started just kind of like, man, you should put music out. You should put music out. Like, why wouldn't you? It's crazy. Like, there's all these songs around, and I was like, oh, whatever. But as the years went on, that little bug in my ear kind of grew, and me and Slow started, I was really inspired by Slow, just, putting music out, continuing to put music out and pursue this while pursuing a career in writing and other things, and seeing that it could be done in the way that, whatever I wanted it to look like. So
yeah,
that's what I decided. Man, why not? I have all these songs laying around nobody's ever cut that I love, and I can just put them out for the world to hear.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And so you released My Poor Mama on like right before Mother's Day.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching your Instagram stories of like everybody and their mom basically being like, holy crap, this song is so good.
Oh, it was so fun. I did not expect that. I really didn't. It was cool. Somebody did a TikTok
I saw
with
that.
them and their mom dancing, and that cracked me up because I was like, man, I never imagined this song. I just imagined some people that maybe followed country writers or producers, listening to it, but I never imagined it being on playlists and all that stuff, and TikTok or anything like that. So it's kind of fun. Honestly, it's like, I'm sure this is stuff that like guys like Slow and Jess are used to, but for me, who usually once the song comes out, I'm done. I don't even really watch it as much because I'm on to the next thing I'm doing, and
Yeah.
it's fun to see this side of it,
Steven's definitely not used to it because we went on TikTok a little while ago and there was like all these videos of people doing TikToks to his songs, and he's like, what is happening? I don't understand. I'm like, there's this whole world we don't know about.
I know. A part of it makes me feel old, and then a part of it makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe just disconnected a little bit.
Yeah.
I try to live that way. What's that?
You have TikTok? Because I don't. Like, I'm not on that train.
I'm embarrassed to say I would. I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out in a good hour, but I'm embarrassed to say I wouldn't even know how to do it.
I'm not gonna lie. We downloaded it, and it's not as easy as everyone makes it out to be. Like, I spent about an hour or two on there, and I was like, this is too much work for me. I work in social media, and I'm like, I can't.
Oh, that's so funny.
So FGL, obviously, huge, like great friends of yours. Aside from that, you also write for Tree Vibes. And then most recently you wrote their new song, I Love My Country, but you're taking on like a huge new project in the fact that you got to produce their new record, which is super, super cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But what was that like for you? I mean, going from just the relationship of writing for the guys, writing with the guys, and then taking on the whole record?
It was pretty natural, honestly. I mean, we write and hang out so much that it was kind of an obvious evolution of that. And a lot of these songs that they were recording for this album were songs that I had written on, just because I spent the entire year with them on the bus, writing songs. I kind of committed to be on the road for the tour, and we wrote a lot of great songs. And so it was fun for me personally to be able to kind of be there from song inception to the end of it, all the way through the process. And I always love when I can do that, because I just feel like it makes for kind of magical records when you all kind of work on something together like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too weird. I mean, the only weird part about it is we made a bunch of the record in the Bahamas.
That was what I was going to ask. I'm like, I swear I saw a video. You did not make it in Nashville.
Well, we recorded a bunch of vocals in the Bahamas. So
okay,
we just went there, and just honestly, it was really, I think it was good for all of us just to go to a new place and create a place that's like, I mean, if you've ever been to the Bahamas, it's inspiring as they get.
I
And it was,
I hear good things.
beautiful, just crystal blue water. And this spot that we went was a killer studio. And yeah, I mean, it was just one of the most amazing architecture for a studio I've ever been in. It was really beautiful. So inspiring place to make a record. So I'm super proud of it. I can't wait. I think the first 6 come out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe less.
I
think it's for Memorial Day.
Like, yeah. I almost think it's the 22nd.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it's somewhere around in the next week or two, but I can't wait for people to hear it. It's like, it's new. It's a new sound, but it's also, it reminds me of like the old FGL stuff that I fell in love with that band on. So it has a lot of that to it.
Awesome. I love that. I know. I'm so excited. I think they announced it like the other day and I was like, yay, finally. And I'm excited also to hear, just you working on their music in more, in a bigger way. But you pretty much, Chris Young, all his records that he's put out, you also produce those. So
I started at I'm Coming Over. Right. So I've done 4 albums. This new one hasn't come out, but I was a large part of this new one too. So it's been, Chris Young's one of the best voices in country music, amazing songwriter as well, and just an epic voice. The second you hear his voice, you know who it is.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And how did that friendship start? Was it just through writing and everything, or?
It was just through writing. I had just lost my record deal maybe the year prior, and was just really getting my feet wet in the writing world, where people were trying to get people to take me serious as a writer and a track writer as well, somebody that produces. And I don't think anybody in town viewed me as either of those things yet. They saw me as an artist, So Chris took a big risk on me when we wrote a few songs together, and he loved it and he loved the way the track sounded. I mean, it's a huge risk. I mean, he asking me to produce his record because, I had never done anything of any commercial value, like pop. I had done a bunch of independent stuff, but nothing that was huge on the radio. So he took a big risk with me. What?
He knew. He was like, I have a feeling this guy can do something.
Hey, I mean, he must have. I mean, he's always been my biggest fan and biggest advocate. So, that was no exception. That was one of those times where he was like, man, you can make this record. I know it because I hear the demos. So he believed in me more than I believed in myself.
That's awesome. And those people are so important in your life, to have somebody that makes you go, hey, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And it really did. I mean, that first record was probably, I guess, 6 years ago, maybe. That gave me a lot of confidence in my abilities, and in my abilities as a producer and as a writer. And so it's super important time period in my life and career, Yeah. And Chris Young, I definitely have to thank for a large part of that.
Yeah. And it's cool to see what you've done. I mean, if anyone Googles like, hey, songs that Corey Crowder's been a part of or written, it's like, it's a very long list that you have been part of. It's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I mean, it goes by so fast. A lot of times I forget to stop and recognize how cool that is.
Yeah, you should just Google it, because I did the other day and I was like, whoa.
Oh, that's amazing. I need to do that.
You do, because I was like, just keep scrolling. And did you write or produce with Hinder? Is that?
I wrote a single for Hinder, yeah.
I was like, what? This is so cool.
That's the only song I ever wrote with them too.
That's amazing. That's super cool. So does this mean, obviously, I mean, I can only imagine, because I say this with Steven, he has so many songs that people have never heard before. Are you going to keep releasing songs that you just say, hey, this one hasn't seen the light of day yet, I'm going to put it out for myself?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is definitely a thing. So what I would also love too is, I mean, I would love nothing more than for somebody to hear this song and fall in love with it and want to record it, like that'd be amazing for me, because what I'm trying to do is 2 things: give light to songs that I think are awesome and that are jams that I personally love and I think other people would like. But also, give a second chance to a song that maybe has lost its luster in some way, because I don't know, maybe the demo missed the mark, or maybe, maybe it wasn't the right singer, or maybe it just wasn't the right time, and maybe it's old now, and you can give some of these songs some new energy, and maybe someone hears it and wants to cut it. I think that would be amazing.
And it's cool too to think, I mean, that's the interesting part of the music industry, I feel like, especially now, is the fact that you can put it out on streaming and someone could say, hey, you know, Corey, I love this song. I want to take it as my own and put it out to radio, and we can do that.
Yes, they did it. I mean, think about in the Motown era, how often they recorded songs 4 and 5 times. And, you know, and I mean, even as of recent, you know, with like the Will Hoge, Even If It Breaks Your Heart. I mean, that was on an early Will Hoge record, and, you know, and Eli Young Band had a #1 big ol' hit, one of their biggest songs with it. I mean, I think it's totally something we should do more of. You know?
Do. Yeah, Jason Blaine, I don't know if you know him. He's a
Canadian
and writer, really good writer. And he did that with Austin Jenks. Austin Jenks had a song on his, you know, EP or whatever that didn't go to radio or anything like that. And Jason was like, man, can I record it and put it to radio? And Austin was like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, that's incredible. Yeah, that's amazing. I love Jason too. Austin and Jason are both killer singers.
Oh yeah, for sure. And really, really good songwriters too. But so last thing, because obviously, if anyone follows you on social media, they see a lot of your family and your beautiful wife on there. So is Lainey, your wife, is she somebody who is like really pushing you and backing you to release music and supporting in that way?
That's an understatement. Yeah. Lainey was the one who was like, I've had My Poor Mama recorded, like mixed, mastered, done since I think like this early December of last year. And I keep bailing on, I kept like, you know, giving reasons to put it off. And she was like, hey, you should put it out for Mother's Day.
Smart.
I was like, that's an amazing idea. And she said, I'm serious. Like, I'm not going to stop annoying you if you do it. So I just said, fine, we got to start sometime. So let's just start the process. Let's start putting songs out. This would be fun.
Smart woman. You surround yourself with a good woman and good things will come.
Oh yeah. Lainey has always been that way. I mean, she's always been the one that kept me rolling. You know, anytime I started getting a little down, she would kick me right back up. So
yeah, it's good to have someone like that in your corner all the time. That's always got your back, and that you
absolutely.
Can this industry, as amazing and exciting as it can be very grueling sometimes.
No kidding. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Well, even though you don't like performing live, I do hope that I get to see you perform My Poor Mama in real life at some point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to play gigs. I just don't want to be on the road like, you know, like the regular guys are.
Yeah.
I want to, and girls.
Your kids and your wife, because they're pretty awesome looking.
Yeah, and you know, I stay pretty busy with production and writing work, so you know, I don't want to take too much away from that, but I do plan on maybe performing a little more than I have been in the last 10 years. So
awesome.
So yeah, maybe we'll do it sooner than later. I know I've been doing a few Instagram lives, which has been new and fun. Yeah. So I'm sure I am going to do some Instagram live stuff here in the next couple weeks. So
which is kind of the new norm for live gigs. So you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. And
thank you for having me.
Oh,
and
no
congratulations.
Problem. Thank you. Yeah, I know. Big, exciting things happening, even though we have not left the house.
Yes. I love it.